Good afternoon, students. Today, I I will be discussing the answers of the assignments that I had given you from The Merchant of Venice, Act 1, Scene 1. I had given you 4 extracts, and you should have, rather, I think 5, and you should have managed to write the answers by now. In case you have yet not written it, you listen to the video and then you write out the answers with the help of my points. These videos will not be linked to YouTube since they are just a discussion of answers, so nobody should link them to YouTube. Just use this information or teaching for your practice of writing correct answers. All right. Now, the first extract which I had given you was, "And such a want with sadness makes of me that I have much ado to know myself." How has Antonio been presented at the beginning of the scene? Antonio has been presented as a melancholic or sad person at the beginning of the scene. He does not know where he has acquired the sadness, what is its origin, or how he got it. Now, how is it affecting him? This melancholy or sadness is making him an absent-minded person as well as making him tired. All right. Second, what reason does Salarino give for Antonio's sadness? Salarino says that Antonio's mind is worried about his ships sailing on the ocean with rich merchandise and portly sails. C. What comparison does Salarino make regarding Antonio's ships? Salarino compares Antonio's ships to the seigneurs or rich gentlemen or important citizens in Venice. He says that Antonio's ships move in a grand procession on the ocean, and the small commercial boats bow towards them as if they were showing respect to the big merchandise ships. All right, just as the common citizens of Venice would bow in front of the seigneurs and important citizens, similarly the small commercial ships would bow towards the rich merchandise ships of these rich merchants. Next, mention 2 things that Salarino would do if he were a rich merchant. If Salarino were a rich merchant like Antonio, he says that he would pluck a blade of grass to see in which direction the wind is blowing to ensure the safety of his ship. Then he would look carefully into maps for ports, harbors, and water channels to check the safety of his ships. So these are the two things that Salarino would do if he were a rich merchant like Antonio. So with this we come to the end of the first extract. Now moving to the second extract, Salarino says, "Shall I have the thought to think on this, and shall I lack the thought that such a thing bechanced me makes me sad?" So, at the beginning of his speech, why would Salarino be worried when he would cool his broth? So first of all, we have to begin by saying that Salarino says that if he were a rich merchant like Antonio, when he would cool his broth, it would make him shiver as if he were having a fever, because the winds, the breath, the cool breath cooling his broth would remind him of the winds at sea, and if they were not favorable, they would cause harm to his ships to the point of destruction. All right. Next question was, how would the sight of the sandy hourglass be threatening? The Salarino says that when he would look at the sandy hourglass, it would remind him of the shallow waters and sand banks and he would worry thinking about his big ship run ashore and get destroyed if they met with the dangers uh, of the sandbanks, fatal sandbanks. All right. Next, what would the holy edifice of stone remind him of, and what destruction would be caused by it? The holy edifice of stone, or the building of the church, would remind him of the dangerous rocks hidden under the waters of the sea. It would cause such dangers to the ship by damaging its side, and once the sides would be damaged, it would result in his spices and silks being scattered all over the water of the ocean. And he says that just before a moment, the cargo which was so valuable would now be worth nothing, as he would have lost all his rich merchandise due to the destruction caused by the rocks. What would be the cause of Salarino's sadness at the end of his speech? Salarino says that if he could imagine all this could happen, shall he not also have the imagination to picture the grief which the occurrence of such a disaster could cause him? All right. So, if he, in other words, he's trying to say that the very thought of him, the thought of these dangers makes him sad. So, if such things would actually happen, how much more disaster would he have to experience? With this, I come to the end of the first video, and I will be putting up short videos so you understand the answers. And as I have said, these will not be linked to YouTube. These are just your references for better understanding.